the Law of One. Just wanted to find out if you knew anything more about this and if you had come across any of the lost teachings of Atlantis.
Well, I've come across it's a series, isn't it, The Law of One? It's a series, yeah. I've read one or two here and there. I think that the Atlantean period is very, very, very significant in this story. Funny enough, some people think Atlantis was another planet. You know, I need more evidence to go with that, but I'm open to anything. But quite demonstrably, because it's in the biological and geological record, there were fantastic Earth upheavals at some point. And this is when it is said that what we call Atlantis and Lemuria, Mu, came down. And the way I see it, as I picked it up over the years, is that if you like, the golden age of what we call Atlantis was a world that's nothing like the one we're experiencing now. It was a completely different energetic environment that we lived in. People were, as a matter of course, connected on multi levels. They were aware of who they were and what this reality they were experiencing was. I feel if you go what we call back far enough, you'd find a period where we didn't even eat food. Because what is food? It is energy. That's what it is. So we were in a completely different, when I say we weren't necessarily there, I'm talking about what we call the human story. We were in a very different physical form, much less dense than it is now. And we were able to absorb energy for sustenance, literally from the energy fields around us, because the energy fields around us were much more powerful energetically than they are now. And if you are getting your sustenance from the energy fields that you're living in, you don't need to eat food. If you don't need to eat food, then one thing you don't have to do is kill animals. If animals are also in an energetic state where they're absorbing energy from the atmosphere, they don't have to kill each other. The law of the wild, therefore, does not exist. It's a completely different experience, a completely different world. When what I call the schism happened, which was brought about by these reptilian entities, I know how they did it now, and I'll talk about it in my new book at some length. The whole energy environment changed. There were energies that the Golden Age Atlanteans were able to access and exploit that were not available anymore. The energy environment was such that it was far, far more difficult to absorb the energy you needed for sustenance from the atmosphere, because we're in a completely different energetic state. I mean, there is no energy in this reality now in comparison to the energy that was available then, before this schism I talk about. And therefore, there's now an energy gap between the energy you need for sustenance and the energy that you're absorbing. And that gap was made up by another form of energy, which we call food. Now what people call the animal kingdom, the animal world, that had to make up an energy gap also. So they did it and do it to this day by killing each other. I mean, let's just get our heads around this. Does anyone really think that, I mean, people have questioned this, if there's a loving God, Why do you have animals kill each other? Well, it's a bloody good question. I mean, are we saying that that which created this reality actually set out originally to turn every copse, every farmer's field into a place of slaughter, where insects are killing insects and animals are killing animals, and you know, in the wilder areas, the animals are being torn apart? I mean, is that really what? Well, yeah, let's get them tearing each other apart and eating each other. It'd be great. This is something that is a manifestation. The very law of the wild itself, as they call it, is a manifestation of the obvious fact that we are living in a fundamentally imbalanced environment, an imbalanced reality. Something's happened to shift it into this ludicrous state that we live in, where not only, we need to think about it, I mean, how many animals, insects, people kill each other on this planet every day?